A lovely good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu channel. It's a Tuesday evening and we are back with Let's Talk Politics. And today we have a very exciting topic, and I am also joined by no other than Lawrence Mulungu as co-host on this program. Lawrence, good evening. I hope you've had a great day.
I've had an awesome day, CJ. Thank you so much for joining us on the program as well. Welcome to you as well as my co-host, and welcome to the viewers to this exciting program that we have lined up once again on a Tuesday.
Thank you very much. So, viewers, let me just start by putting this out. We are not economists or financial experts, and the views that we'll be giving here are from an ordinary Zambian's perspective, okay? But of course, we're going to bring out the major highlights that were given by the minister, and we also have a compilation from KPMG, who put out the main highlights of the 2024 financial budget. So to get started, before we give you the first clip that gives the highlights, would like to inform you that please make sure you invite someone, share the broadcast. Feel free to make a comment in the comment section so that we are able to interact. This program is all about you making your views known, us discussing, and having a conversation over issues affecting our nation. Let me also take this opportunity to welcome Mukelabai on tonight's program. Mr. Mukelabai, good evening and welcome to Ubuntu channel.
Good evening, CJ, and good evening, Lawrence. It's good to see you guys. And unfortunately, the topic we are going to talk about today, I'm not that privy. I don't have much information on it, but since we are Zambians, we have the budget in the place, we need to talk about it and how we understand in our own ways in which we understand. We are not economists. I believe you guys, you're going to bring an economist here who's going to simplify the bombastic words by the ministers of the of the budget. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mukelabai. Straight ahead, let's have the clip with Mr. Henry Kapata, who is going to give us highlights on the 2024 budget presentation.
Henry Kapata, Director and Spokesperson for Ministry of Information and Media. Now, allow me to share some of the highlights from the 2024 proposed budget by the Minister of Finance. And so we are talking about CDF that has been increased by 4.8 billion kwacha. Now, this means that each constituency will have to receive about 30.6 million kwacha. Government will equally in 2024 construct airports in Cassava Bay, Chinsali, and Choma. So government will equally spend about 398 million kwacha to completed but abandoned schools. 4,000 health workers to be employed, adding to 3,000 already hired this year. Government will equally construct cancer hospitals in Indola and Livingston to decongest the Lusaka Cancer Hospital. Now, the Katete Chanida Road concession to link Zambia to Mozambique will be signed soon. And again, we have 1.9 billion kwacha allocated to schools as grants. Of course, this is in line with the free education policy. Guess what? No custom duty on electric vehicles.
Welcome back, viewers, and thank you so much for sticking with us. And there is the Director in the Ministry of Information, that is Mr. Henry Kapata, giving us a small breakdown on what the national budget is. I think the biggest highlight here is CDF, Mukelabai. I think President Hakainde Hichilema has indicated how much he wants to take development to the constituency, and keeps on increasing the CDF every year, and it doesn't look like he's slowing down. Mukelabai.
It will never slow down if we have a president that has a heart for the people, especially the heart for the people that are in rural areas. So Zambia, the mistake we make as Zambians, we think that Zambia is only Lusaka and Copperbelt, Mindola, Kitwe, and these big cities that we have. Unfortunately, we have a vast country. The rural areas, they were undeveloped. They were underdeveloped. None of this infrastructure we see in Lusaka, the modern facilities that we see, has ever taken place in these remote areas. If you go in remote areas, the last time they saw a nice and infrastructure, beautiful building, it was maybe after independence, including the boarding school mamene munapunzire mwe wonse mwe munapeza kuti vonse vinachita bwanji nivakudala. The buildings are shattered, the abrution blocks, everything is not okay. But here is a president that has a vision, not even just the president, because when we talk of the president, yes, we don't want to make him have, to grow a big head. We want to tell them that as a team, this government, okay, headed by HH, they have a vision. They have the heart for the people, especially the rural areas. And that's why you find that today the oppositions and everyone is trying, and those that have been benefiting from this huge amount of monies were just based in big cities, especially Lusaka. And today they are so against. So that's why you find that they would come up with any propaganda to shoot down any developmental idea that this current government is making. Why? Because they have been, the money that was supposed to go in their pockets has been diverted to remote areas, to rural areas. Hakainde Hichilema is sharing the wealth of the country, decentralizing the funds to every constituency, to every Zambia. And we are happy to see. I'm not surprised that he has decided to give 4.8 billion kwacha to all the Zambian, to the constituents. That is, each constituency will get about 30.6 million kwacha. It is a plus. This is going to mean a lot, especially to those constituencies that have never seen development for the past 40, 50 years.
Yeah. Now,
so to me,
Mukelabai, sorry to interrupt you. What is your view with this increase of the CDF? Last week there were concerns that there are situations, or the disbursement of CDF has got a number of issues around transparency and the like in the way that it is being given out. What is your view in line with this increase as well?
If you have observed those complaints, which constituencies and which camp is coming up with such complaints, you will find out that these are the people that are trying to shoot down the very good initiative of the CDF. And mostly they are the opposition. And as for the others, the rest, they are benefiting, except for one individual who is making wonders when it comes to CDF. He has gone beyond politics. He is just down there working for the people of Kanchivia and bringing much development, and is doing much better. I'm talking about Sunday Chanda, Honorable Sunday Chanda. So coming to your question, how do I view this increment? I find, I view, in my view, that this increment of CDF is a very welcome gesture from the government, even though we should not make the government feel as though they are doing us a favor. It is their duty to provide, to bring development in these areas in all parts of Zambia. They have elected to do this. Yes, they are doing much better than the previous that was refusing, that decided to keep money to themselves. And instead, they would rather buy one individual a presidential luxury jet that cost billions instead of sharing that money to the rest of the country, so that they could buy yes, please.
On the downside of it all, I think there are a lot of concerns over the increment, especially for the fact that as we speak right now, some constituencies have not received the 26 million in full for 2022.
Yes.
Others have only received 5 million for the whole lot of last year.
So in short, you are saying
while we are struggling seemingly to complete the previous smaller amount, we decide to increase. Are we not putting burdens on a bit of a burden on the treasury, looking at it from the fact that we are finding it a challenge to complete what was smaller last year?
Mwema Zambian muletasha. Honestly, I would rather have Nkongole from the government than nothing. At least Bamipela, we honestly, do you want to complain for the increment they've given us? We want to complain just because we haven't received fully the previous, the last payment. We haven't received it fully. Even when we know, we know that economically, we are a country that is still struggling. And this government is trying to look for money, is busy looking for money, bringing up money, or trying to find money to distribute, pay, these constituencies that have not been fully funded. The government is under stress right now. They are the ones that gave us, isn't it? So they have to source money to bring us, because we are not going to stop demanding or claiming what is entitled to us, because the moment they announce, it means that we already have become, we have now been owed by the government. Better being owed by the government than nothing, where we want to complain that we don't have, that this increment is not fair. Why should you increase when you still haven't paid us? Have they failed to pay, and has the year ended, or do they have just
2022 is done. I mean, 2022 is done. We are in 2022.
No. Don't go there. It is done when you reach December, my dear.
We're talking about 2022. We passed 2022 December.
No.
Then
2022 money has been given. And if you look at all these constituencies, they have all the monies, they have all the monies. When you talk about 2023, I agree with you because we haven't yet finished the 2023. But those people, if you pay too much attention to the kuli bandani abamene bakungochita complain maning pama CDF, you are not going to progress because they want to shoot down this good initiative.
Mukelabai,
Yeah.
It's not just about the shooting down. We had incidents where constituencies failed to utilize this same money. There were even reports where witch doctors managed to run away with CDF money. But before you respond to that, let me also welcome Wise. Please hold your thought on that one. Wise man, good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu channel. Okay, probably he's still setting up.
Good evening, comrades.
Evening. Great to have you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mukelabai. Good evening, Lawrence.
Good evening, Wiseman. Good to hear from you.
How are you? Good to see you.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. Mukelabai, just conclude your thought, and then we'll invite Wiseman to also have his view on the CDF that has been increased. Over to you, Mukelabai.
The government has issued or is giving you money, and then the problem. We would rather have the problem to utilize the money than when the money is not issued at all to us. Okay? At least when we have the money, then the government should not be blamed. With the people that should be blamed are us, the recipients, the people that are supposed to make plans, the people that have situations, challenges in our constituencies. If we are unable to identify projects that are supposed to be undertaken during the funds, when the funds are made available, then it is not the government's problem. Then it is that constituent's problem. So if it means money should lie in the bank until such a time when they find projects, then so be it. They can keep their money. They can still use. You cannot just use money when you don't have anything to use the money for. Keep it, because the problems are coming tomorrow. You have future challenges. We would rather have a problem of finding a solution than when we don't have money at all to fix any challenge that we are going to have or any future undertaking. That is what I can say for now. So we should be able to thank this government for having given, even made a pronouncement, because we shall hold them accountable for the pronouncements they are making today and the promises they are making today, because these are oral contracts, or it's not even oral contract, because now they are making it legit contractual obligations that they have raised the CDF to 30.6 million, which every constituency will be entitled every year, each year, annually. And this year has not even ended yet. And the minister, I believe I saw the program by ZNBC where the Minister of Finance was interviewed and asked to say, when are you going to pay the balances for this year allocations? Because there are some constituencies whose monies have not even reflected yet. And the minister promised to say that money will actually reflect in those in their accounts. But if the constituencies have no the people in the constituency have no projects to undertake, they should not use the money. Let the money stay, be there in their account, and use it when they have a situation. But Zambians need money in all the constituencies, especially the rural areas.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mukelabai.
Let me bring in Wiseman. Wiseman, are you able to hear me and converse with us?
Yeah, I'm getting you. I don't know if you're getting me very clear.
Loud and clear. Now,
Okay.
here is the situation of CDF that we have.
Yes.
How did you receive the news when you heard in the budget that the CDF has actually been increased?
Yeah, when I heard about the CDF being increased, it was the message which came as a good message to me due to few facts based on those that shows and demonstrate what the government was talking about when they talked about decentralization. That showed that it's true the government is bringing the money closer to the people. Because today, comrade, in Kabwe Central Constituency in Kabwe, where we are lucky to have our Member of Parliament, Madam Chrisosta Pili, we were giving loans and grants to cooperatives, which were coming from the CDF. We had given today money sum to 5 million in total. That, if you go into our archives, you come to understand that this 5 million we are giving today, which was just coming from one constituency CDF. If it was previously, you would discover that that money could have been meant to be the money for 3 years. For you to give 5 million for your people, you have to suspend all the projects in your constituency for 3 years. So the increase of the CDF in the new budget of 2024, it is showing that the government want money to come to people. We need to be making decisions within our constituency for us to develop our constituency and to develop our towns. So that comrade, to me, it came as a good news, and it still stands to be a good news. It's just now our job as the people to know how we are going to be utilizing that money, how we are going to make sure that we control the funds which government is giving us to turn it into a good use. So increasement of the CDF, it's a good news. That's how I felt when I heard about that news.
Interesting. Remember, to the viewers, we are live and you are free to participate in this program by leaving a comment on whatever social media platform you are watching us. Remember, I'm with my co-host CJ. We are hosting Wiseman and Mukelabai. Remember, the views expressed on this program do not represent the views of Ubuntu channel, and these are personal views. CJ.
Yeah, Lawrence. So let's look at another item in the budget. The 2024 more teachers. Government is looking at employing 4,200 more teachers. Mukelabai, what do you think of this additional employment? Okay.
It is a welcome move. Sorry about that.
Okay.
For as long as we are able to raise the money to pay and look after our teachers, and for the government to even come up with the number 4,200, to me, they are within their reach, because they cannot employ more than what they cannot look after. Already we've had 3,000 teachers that were employed. And on top of that, we are going to have 4,000 teachers. So those that were left and those that graduated, for example, you rest assured that some of you that are going to be lucky, you will be picked and you will be a civil servant. The government is obligated, is fulfilling its legal obligation in providing employment to these necessary professions. We cannot have a nation where we declare free education and yet a pupil ratio, a teacher pupil ratio is below par. Then we are wasting our time and energy and resources. So this is a proper investment for the country, and we should welcome it. Anybody that is going to demean this movement, anybody that is going to bring down this initiative, that person is not patriotic to Zambia. That person should actually never be even listened to, because they are wasting your time. We need to move forward. We need to invest in our children, and we need to invest in the education. If you want the nation to prosper, if you want development to be attained, educate the nation, the masses, the citizens. Once you educate the citizens, you are going to unlock all these challenges that we are currently facing today. All these ministers we see, all these MPs you see, all these intellectuals you see who are doing well, driving nice cars, building houses, they were at one point students, pupils, who's at least they got lucky. Some got free education through the first father of the nation, the founder of our country, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. Others through their parents who had the capacity to invest in their education. Today, they are presidents, ministers, and everyone. So why should we not do the same to the future generation? When we are gone, who is going to take over the nation? Do we want to hand over to an illiterate nation or to a literate nation? So let us educate the nation to unlock these challenges that we have today. So employment of teachers, the increase of teachers, we know it's a drop in an ocean because the children are many, the schools are many, but at least it is a step in the right direction. So we welcome this, and we are thanking the government for having considered to employ or to employ teachers that will look after our children. Ndalumba.
Thank you, Mukelabai. Wiseman, what do you take of the increase, the number that government intends to employ next year in the education sector?
The number which government is intending to employ in the education sector next year, it's a welcome move. It's a good number. The strategy, comrade, is that for me, education in Zambia does not bring any help to Zambian people. Education in Zambia, it's like we have been investing in the business which does not produce fruits. That's our education system in Zambia. How I wish the education system in Zambia could have been demolished and bring the new curriculum, so that when we invest in that business, that business should be bringing money, should be bringing profit to the country. You are going to find that you employ 30,000 teachers, you employ 4,000 teachers. Those teachers, they will be in a consuming part of it from the economy of the country. They are not bringing anything in return. What do I mean, comrade? You will discover that in Zambia, you are going to be in school for 12 years. That is a wasted 12 years in Zambia. You will be in school, you are going to decide what you are going to be after 12 years. What were you doing for the past 12 years when you were in school? For you to come and decide what you want to study now after 12 years. So that again, you discover that what are the challenges we are having in Zambia? We are having challenges of, maybe for now, meal prices. We are having the challenges of mining issue. We are having challenges of, the challenges we are having in Zambia, it does not been involved in our education system. So how then are you going to overcome the problems when the education system does not work with the challenges we are facing? So you discover that we will be just be pumping money in civil servants who are not bringing fruits, comrade.
But
We will be employing.
so, comrade,
Yes, you can ask.
if you say we just bring down the education system, isn't that too radical and a disruption? Because I think if you say 12 years, that's when a person decides. You know, a person grows in that process, and at the level of thinking, even at the different ages, a person is different. Okay, and that process is meant to open up the minds of a person so that they are able to know the environment, how it is, so that even as they are deciding what they want to do, they are able to do that with an open mind and with a good base. So isn't just a need to change the curriculum here and there and bring in issues that are directly affecting the nation? Probably I would say maybe especially at the when it comes to tertiary level, because that's where we see that's when things are supposed to be more practical. Don't you think it's just a few changes here and there that are required?
Do you know how old was the man who the Chinese person who make the bulb we have been using in Zambia? How old was he? 5 years old child discovered the bulb. This bulb, element bulbs we use in Zambia. Do you know that? So tell me, in what grade will be the 5-year-old child in China? In Tanzania, way back, they were using English, like the way we use English. It took a board reader to say, let's be using Swahili to be our national language. And they changed there and then. Look at where Tanzania is now. Zambia is 59 years old, boss. What my comrade, Mr. Mukelabai, who is more senior to me, what he was learning in Zambia in grade 1, that's what my kid is learning in Zambia today. Even when he's sleeping, Mr. Mukelabai will be dreaming to say, today, my grandchild at school is learning about Plocoso africanus, the monkeys,
But
and
but
this other.
No, just to help our
The
brother here.
issue here, comrade,
but
is about the issue here, comrade, is about when you employ a worker. When you employ a worker, you know, me, I like the way my president learns things. He's a businessman. Each and every country you see, if you hear about his speech, when he was telling the vice president to say, Vice President, it's not about what time a worker report for work and what time he's knocking off. It's about the outcome from what he is doing at that place. When you employ a worker, comrade, the worker has to produce something which will come, whether in 12 years we need to have the fruits. When you employ a teacher to go and teach our children, what do we expect in return after 12 years? Nothing, comrade. We expect something in return after going to college. What was that 12 years for? We need to have critical thinkers who use that 12 years. If you come from school in 12 years' time, bring fruits to the nation.
Mr.
You
Wiseman,
see,
Mr.
Yeah.
Wiseman,
we will
I think
continue employing
that probably that
teachers,
discussion
comrades.
would really be helpful, looking at the fact that we are just 2 days away from World Teachers Day, and maybe
What
these
is
are the
not
conversations we
getting
should be
network
having
is
on
breaking.
Teachers Day.
Yeah, not even on
I'm
Teachers
saying
Day. We need to be telling them in advance so that on Teachers Day they can have this conversation. Teachers themselves, they will feel hate when they hear about this conversation. But us who are feeling the heat, we have to tell them that this is what is happening. I mean, comrade, you employ a farm manager to be doing farming at your farm. Then that farm manager stays at your farm for 12 years without giving you any tangible fruits. Then you expect the farm manager to produce in 15 years.
But comrade, that's a little bit extreme, because even your example on the light bulb is not that accurate. Okay, mostly the light bulb is attributed to Thomas Edison, but there are a few others. But in this situation, 12 years, a person gets into school at around, okay, let's say 6-7 years. Okay, 6-7 years. Come on, Niwafana, but their thinking is something else.
No,
So,
just may I just step in a little bit here?
Yes, from Mukelabai.
Yes, I think I know what my brother here, Wiseman, is trying to say. He is actually trying to he's talking about the curriculum that we have, that it needs to actually be reformed, because there's no way we could be learning things that are not going to help us, our children, us. You and me, we have been learning photosynthesis, a lot of things in science, but from the time in memorial. What has that done to us, to our challenge, as to compare to what is currently taking place? Our young kids in China today, they are learning coding, how to code. And us, our children, they are busy in Sunday school or churches. So you find these are so what our brother here is trying to say is let us try to reform our education system so that it becomes relevant to the current challenges that we are facing. Because most of our lessons, our what we are learning, to what our children are learning, are not relevant to the hardships that we are going to face tomorrow. So in short, is saying, even give an example of the mines, for example, you only start learning about the mine when you are in the university or you are going to. So why can't we start from somewhere in, at least as early as grade 5, you encompass these mining issues in your social studies or whatever, and etc., etc. So the best thing that we should look at our brother's point is that he is not demeaning education. He is trying to tell us to say the education system we have in Zambia is a little bit outdated. We need to reform it so that it becomes relevant to today, to our African challenges, because in Africa, Africa has its own the dimension of problems, unlike children that are born in China or other part of the world. So why can't we learn about how to identify minerals, how to find out at an earlier stage, so that when we as we grow, we are experts in those areas. So we don't allow foreigners or expatriates to come and take over, and that's why
Yeah.
we're
So,
to do that. So that is how I understood his point. Otherwise,
yeah.
those are the results that he's talking about, and the time
Yeah.
takes too long. Yes. So I
Yeah.
hear him. I heard
Yeah.
him correctly.
Yeah. I also agree with him. He's very right in terms of when it comes to the period that it takes for this education system to now start yielding results. Yeah, I very much agree with him, and yeah, there's serious need to change the curriculum. Whilst we are looking at this education, there's also been there are 69 abandoned schools that are to be completed.
Yeah. You know, when you have no plan as a government, I'm trying to refer to the previous government that was just that they wanted people to love them, to be popular. And that's why they were all over and they lost it. They spread, and they were spreading their wings to places that they could not even fly to. And that's why you find that most of the schools today were abandoned or the projects were discontinued. Some of the projects, the monies were spent, but you don't even see that there is a university. For example, the FTJ University.
Yeah, university.
Money was spent, but it was abandoned. Who got the money and where is the university? So who came up with that plan? So this is what we are trying to say. Now this current government, what they're doing now is that, look, we are Zambians. Despite our brothers having mismanaged our resources and mismanaged the country, we cannot continue blaming them. We have a life to live. We have people to protect. We have our children to take to school. So why don't we build on what they, find a source for money so we can finish up those projects that they abandoned, even though they have the money in their those guys have the money. They got the money.
Mukelabai, that's another topic. It will open a Pandora's box. Allow me to bring in Wiseman on that one. Comrade, 69 abandoned schools and 46 that are under construction. What is your take on that one?
Yeah, I think that's a good move to complete things which were abandoned. Those things were abandoned because our comrades, they were not interested in building anything for this country. Our comrades were interested in commissioning new things so that they can get some commission on it, and that's where they were getting money. And anything commissioned, it has got no future, and they will abandon it. So it's a good move for government to finish those schools. But again, me, when it comes to anything concerning education in Zambia, we will never move together as long as we are moving on the same page. Look, comrade, you have said how many schools to be completed? How many schools? So in Zambia already we have. In Zambia already we have got schools which are in town, where our kids can be going. Why not now building schools in the bush instead of building schools where we will be learning English and learning other things? Maybe you build schools where you will put farms, where now when our kids go to school, they are learning how to do farming. I can assure you, when a child stays on a desk for 5 years, learning how to be farming, you will discover that by the time the child will be staying on that desk for 12 years, learning how to be farming, will become an expert in terms of farming. And then when a child again go to school and start learning about how to understand mining industries for 12 years, we were not going to be waiting for a Chinese guy to come and tell us what manganese is, what sweetrite is, what copper is. We're not going to be determining the prices of minerals from these foreign countries. We are going to discover that by the time the grandson of Mr. Mukelabai is finishing grade 12, he knows how to research for minerals. He knows where switchlight is, what comes out of switchlight, he knows. So instead of finishing those schools, me, I would like the channel that money to build such kind of infrastructure, so that ourselves we will understand what cobalt is. We have got cobalt in Zambia. We have got everything which these electrical vehicles, Mr. Mukelabai, you are using there in Kumangalenda, where the thing, where raw material is coming from, we have them in Zambia.
Comrade, are you saying they should abandon? Are you saying they should abandon the schools as well?
Comrade, that is thing where PF got eaten money, FTJ Chiruba schools. Do you know why they eat that money? They see no value. We have got universities in Zambia, and we are languishing in the same dust with people who have got diplomas. Okay? When you understand the setup of Tonga people, me, I like Tonga people for one reason. When a Tonga man, when he has got a son, is going to be given one cow. That cow, that Tonga son, he will be grooming a cow and some chickens. By the time the Tonga chap is reaching maybe 12 years, he will have maybe 12 cows, because the cow is per year. 12 or 6 cows with a lot of chickens. He even understand what medicine to give a cow when a cow goes on this direction.
With a lot of chickens.
You understand? So he already understands how to keep cows. That is a very good grooming of a family. Even when that child dies, the siblings who are growing, they are going to take charge of that farm. They are going to continue grooming those cows.
Including
but in Zambia, when Mr. Mukelabai took me to school, I have a diploma. Immediately I'm graduating. God forbid I die. That diploma is useless. I'm just going to throw it in the dustbin, and it has got nothing to use. Mr. Mukelabai, yes. Yeah. Mr. Mukelabai has sold all the animals he has at the farm for him to take me to school. I go and hold a diploma. I'm graduating over excitement. I die. Even that diploma is useless. What will Mr. Mukelabai gain from my education? Nothing. But when those schools took those schools in the bush, build farms where are going to be teaching us how to grow maize, how to keep cows, how to keep cattle, how to keep chickens. Even if I die today, you, CJ, your children will take over from that farm where I was grooming, and Zambia will never pass into poverty. So for me, finishing those schools, it's a good move. We welcome it, but it's going just in vain. For me, let the government channel that money into farming production, which will tackle the issue of minimum prices. Let them channel that money into educating our kids how to do mining, which will produce now the new Mukelabai Chinese, who's going to understand what minerals is all about. Let them channel that money into electricians, engineers, who's going to see that when you build an infrastructure, comrade, for the government from South Africa, they need to come and admire it. You CJ, you are in Zambia. Mukelabai is not in Zambia. You can come to any town, compare the buildings which are coming through CDF money, how much is spent, and compare the buildings which UNIP built. It's a sorry sight where our engineers, they graduated through paperwork. So for me, the government, we salute you for finishing those projects, but please don't finish those projects. Channel the money in something which is going to help the Zambia to move the economy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, wise man. Degrees are not inherited. So, Mukelabai, I'm going to take you to the next item. Government will construct the other one is about airports. Okay. The government intends to construct airports at Kasaba Bay, Chinsali, and Choma. What do you take of that?
Oh, those are for rich people. Yeah, those are for people that have the capacity. And for now, we should not jump the gun. But we don't we shouldn't jump the gun. We are too much. Sometimes we're too excited when we have enough money in our coffers. We want to, tackle everywhere. Yes, but at the same time, we are also looking at the tourism industry. If we are to construct those airports, what are they going to bring into our economy? Are they going to revamp on our economy? Are we going to have profits, like what my brother was talking about here earlier? So if that is attainable, why not? So I believe they're looking at the benefits on and on the developmental projects, because this will bring some income, especially when we have visitors that are coming to tour our nation. We are going to have revenues. So is it worth spending money for? And is it worth investing in this field, on these airports? I believe it is very, very, very beneficial, and we should go ahead and do it. But is it should we give it first priority? What? Yeah. Is it an issue that we must do it now, or we can take our time and do other and tackle other pressing matters? Because right now the country has more serious challenges that we need to channel the money to, so that once this area is done, okay, if we channel the money into farming, for example, millennial issue will come down. But are we going to get money out of that when we invest, if we invest into that field? Or it's just the satisfaction of our Zambian people that are going to be that are going to have ubunga, I mean, umutofu wabwali
All right. For the sake of time, sorry, I'm going to rush us through the items that are remaining. So, Wiseman, I need your quick input on the construction of airports.
Government means business, government need development, and government mean you want to develop this country. I think we have got a brave man in State House. The people surrounding the brave man are the people misleading the brave man. We have got 2 airports in Zambia. Go there, get a seat, take 1 bottle of water, count how many planes lands in a day. Are they congested? The answer is no. Zambia Airways only have 2 planes. The old wheelbarrow plane which PF left, and the good designed plane which we have seen now under New Dawn government. Only 2. Tell me where those planes go. It's from Lusaka to Ndora. Mr. Mukelabai, we haven't seen that plane which they advertise under PF, which looks like you can even be thinking twice.
Yeah,
it is there, and there is another plane.
Violence.
Yeah. So we only have 2 planes, comrade. Can 2 planes congest the 2 airports we have? The answer is no. I mean, where do Zambia Airways planes go, apart from just the going round of this country? It's from Lusaka to Copperbelt. Copperbelt to Lusaka. That's Zambia Airways.
Conrad, the airports are not just for our aircraft here. Also for foreign aircrafts, they use this place to connect and all that. It is also revenue for us, cargo and all those things. It is revenue for our nation.
That's what I've told you. Connect and passing, the 2 different things. Connect is where the plane comes, lands in your country. They stayed there, again it flies to another country. But passing, they can just overpass, flying on top of our head.
Fly over.
So, what are we expecting? How many planes are we expecting in the country? That's the most cardinal things. Or we are receiving a lot of visitors, and we don't have enough airports. What should we do? let's build some more. But if you have got airports which can only receive one plane after 1 week or 2 planes per day, why building some more? Why building some more, comrade?
Yeah.
We are building airports for our comrades from Asia and European countries to come and get our minerals like the gold we saw. We are supposed first to educate ourselves inside. We are prepared. Ama airport, they will be coming, even on their own, they'll just be offering when they see good things in Zambia. So for me, we can channel that money in something which will build first Zambian citizen, then our brothers who want to visit us. Comrade, I mean, you, CJ, tell me what criteria you're going to be using. You at your house, you don't have a car. Then you build 3 carports where you say these carports, I'll be expecting visitors to be coming with their vehicles, they'll be parking here. What will your children think about you?
Nizambo lipilisa
For
baneba
you to
as
build,
they are parking.
what criteria is that? For you to build an extra carport, which means you have bought another vehicle, maybe for your wife, or you have built another vehicle for your son. So now you don't have where to park, then you can build some extra. So for me, developing this country, we want it, and this government mean well to develop the country. But developing the country, the channel on the resources where it's not necessary, it's not okay. For me, even revamping Zambia Railways, bring those Mukelabai, those bullet trains, bring them to Zambia. It will carry more weight than building an airport. So for me,
Right.
let our president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and its cabinet hold on for those airports first and build some infrastructure which will benefit the Zambians and the tourists to come, which is trains. Maybe that way it can help, and build some more roads as well.
All right. So now I'm going to combine, I think, 2 items. Okay, let me just put 3. So the first one, there is the 4,000 health workers to be employed. And then the second one, the clearing. Government has cleared workers that is last unpaid, that have been unpaid from 2017 to 2021. These are retirees. Okay, and then the social cash transfer beneficiaries have also been increased from 241,000, that is 2022 from last year, to 2,000 to 242,000, that is in the coming year. So an increase in the beneficiaries for social cash transfer, the clearing of retirees, and then 4,000 health workers to be employed. Mukelabai.
Well, we are too good to be true. And this government, they are trying to walk the talk. Okay. But we have, yes, the budget has to be announced. Yeah. And we have to know, it doesn't mean that we have the money already. The budget is just to, if we correct enough money, we'll be able to implement these issues that have been raised here. Okay.
So for example, for the workers, these ones have been cleared.
Yeah, those that have been cleared, that's perfect, because that's a very that's something that has been there for a long time. These were certain liabilities that should have had been cleared a long time ago, so that we pave way for other new or future challenges or liabilities that we may incur tomorrow. But are we, the government, is this government ready to fix all these challenges? Do we have the capacity? Do we have the capacity? If we do, are these issues more important than what is currently taking place, or what are the challenges that are taking place in Zambia? Do we have more pressing challenges? So this is where the government should also look at the mood of the country and the most prevalent issues that requires serious attention. We should not transfer challenges that we have in the future. We should find mitigatory issues immediately, just like the way they did it when it came to load shedding. Employing 4,000 health workers, that's the government's responsibility. They are obligated by law to do so. Come year in, come year out, they need to bring in more because the services that are needed, they are of high demand. We need people in hospitals. We need people in technical help. And the government must, whichever government that will come in any in government, whichever party, has to employ these people. So, and UPND is merely fulfilling what its obligations are. So let them go ahead and fulfill, which is a good thing. We want to see results. These people, when they are employed, this is the other issue I wanted to talk about. When we employ, we talk of employing too much and sewing in people with white gloves. But at the end of the day, are we getting the results that we expect? Are we getting the profits like what my brother said? Are we receiving good results from this employment? What are we achieving at the end of the day? We want to see good service delivery. You know, we want to see transparency. We want to see cases that are being handled at a very, they have to speed up the processes. Right. There's too much bureaucratic. So we need these issues, the teachers that are being employed, the nurses, the health workers. We want to see them as well as to produce results so that the government is performing well in terms of their delivery. And you talked of what other things did you talk about?
I think increase in social cash transfer beneficiaries. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that one I will not waste much time. It is. Our people need money. You know, we need to give our. You know, the prices of commodities are quite high now. Just the bread or just eggs or just to buy sugar, they're no longer at a normal price. So we need to, the prices are all high because of fuel. And like I was saying, that this is not just a Zambian baby or Zambian problem. It is the worldwide challenges. At least mwema Zambian muleshita fuel pathetic kwacha. Ifwe bambi kuno koko tuikala kuno kuma developed countries abano nkabene ba ifwe tuleshita fuel pa almost 120 kwacha per liter if we are to convert it into 200 kwacha. So you see that we even said mumushita kuisa fuel yen, and why should you imyotoka mwensha shali nasho shali chula or isho myotoka chwensha shali nonka but kwenye myotoka shimoshine. So that is why you should look at, of course, you are even lucky, but we understand the geographic nature. We understand that Africa is a developing continent, and we need to sell products at a reasonable prices to our people. So we understand that aspect. So it is, it should be necessary for the government to increase in Namasaralis.
Thank you, Mukelabai. Wiseman, your view of the of the 4,000 health workers to be employed, the clearing of the retirees, as well as the 1,000 increase in beneficiaries of social cash transfer.
Thank you very much, comrades. Let me start with the health workers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very positive move done by our government to employ our health workers to take care of our health conditions. I extend my appeal to His Excellency the President, the Vice President, all the MPs, the ministers, as they have assumed Parliament. Let them pass a law to say no any sick patient should be flied out of the country, so that we see the fruits of our health workers. I see no reason why government will be giving government a burden of employing thousands of health workers when a minister is sick, is flight to South Africa. South Africa is in Africa. What is so special about South Africa which cannot be so special about Zambia? I see no reason why. Yes, so if you don't have the equipment, if you don't have a car, why are you hiring a driver to drive a car? So put the equipment in those health posts, then hire specialists to be handling those equipment, so that when an MP is sick, let that MP be treated actually in his or her constituency. If there is a hospital, let him feel the same pain the people who voted for him are feeling. If the MP is coming from Kawata, don't take him to Mandevu to go and be treated at UTH. No. Let him be treated at his own constituency. Please, that's an appeal. Pass that law so that this country would develop, because each one of us will be thinking, what can I do? It's just like at a household, comrade. When you build a house, the first thing you're going to think about building is an ablution block, because you know you want to go and ask for it from your neighbor. That thing should come to our mind from our leaders to say, if my constituents has got no hospital, where are my people going? Where am I going to go? As a result, you will see this country will develop. So please, we are requesting for that law. Coming to the increment of social cash transfer, that's a good move, a perfect move, which government has done. Our mothers and fathers who are old age, they need to survive. They need to have something to keep them moving. But if I may ask CJ, where is that social cash transfer money coming from? It's coming from paying tax. Who's being taxed? It's the same people. So it's the money circulating on the same people. For me, I would like the position where government can build industries, as I saw in the budget, where they say they're going to build industries. Then make those industries, take some industry to say these industries, specifically the profit which will be coming from these industries will be going to Qatar for our old aged people. Then you know you're doing a good business. You even know where the money will come from. You even know if you're making a loss or you're making a profit. On that angle, I can assure you government will never go on to start getting credit from these people. Same as the people who have been paid, those workers who were used and dumped by the previous government and the previous government. This government comes in power and says, no, that's not our aim. We are going to pay you all your money. And they paid them. That's the art. But the previous government failed to pay those workers the money because they never had the plan. Because the government is the government of consuming and not government of producing. So for me, I'm asking from His Excellency the President, let this government, UPND government, New Dawn government, be the government of making profits. We need profits in each and every sector. The teachers, number one. let the teachers bring profit for the things they are producing in those classes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wiseman. Comrades, time is not with us. Just want to thank you for being part of tonight's program. Viewers, before we end the program, we are just going to play a compilation from KPMG that highlights the major components of the budget presentation, so that you can have a good overview of what was presented. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, and it's always a pleasure to have you on Let's Talk Politics. Looking forward to another exciting program next Tuesday. Well, from me and the production crew, Lawrence, who couldn't manage to stay up to the end of the program due to technical issues here and there, Emmanuel Nkunika, our producer, want to say thank you and have a blessed night. But just go through the KPMG clip that gives highlights on the budget, the 2024 budget presented by the Honorable Finance Minister. Thank you and good night.
The 2024 national budget was delivered under the theme Unlocking Economic Potential. Resource envelope mobilization, 177.9 billion kwacha, 27.8% of GDP. 141.1 billion kwacha, 22% of GDP from domestic revenues. 3.4 billion kwacha, 0.6% of GDP from grants. And 33.3 billion kwacha, 5.2% of GDP from debt financing. Macroeconomic objectives. GDP, attain real growth rate of at least 4.8% compared to 2.7% expected in 2023. Inflation, reduce the rate to within 6 to 8% medium-term target band. Gross international reserves, maintain at least 3 months of import cover. Fiscal deficit, reduce to 4.8% of GDP. Domestic borrowing, limit to 2.5% of GDP. Domestic revenue mobilization, increase to at least 22% of GDP. Key revenue concessions, compensating, housekeeping and other measures. Direct taxes, revenue concession measures. Pay as you earn, raise the exempt threshold to 5,100 kwacha from 4,800 kwacha per month and higher tax bands adjusted accordingly. Pay as you earn, reduce the marginal rate from 37.5% to 37%. Local content allowance, extend to the income earned on value addition of sorghum and millet the deduction of 2% of the cost of acquiring the sorghum and millet. Businesses in rural areas, increase the 14.2% corporate income tax payable reduction concession to 20% for all industries except mining for the first 5 years of operations. Developers of multi-facility economic zones, 100% accelerated depreciation on any new plant and machinery to be introduced. Currently, this only applies to investors in multi-facility economic zones. Cotton value chain. Tax holidays to be introduced as follows. A. 5-year tax holiday on profit for local producers of cotton seed. B. 5-year tax holiday on profit from ginning of cotton. And C. 10-year tax holiday on profit made from spinning of cotton and weaving of thread. Housekeeping measures. Mineral royalty. To provide for the appointment of mineral royalty withholding agents to enhance mineral royalty compliance by artisanal and small-scale mines. Use of electronic invoicing systems. Provide for exemption from use of electronic invoicing systems for qualifying persons. TPIN registration. Businesses or individuals to obtain a TPIN and ultimately register for appropriate tax types at commencement of business as opposed to at receipt of income. Date of assessment for cases under litigation shall be the date of determination or final ruling. Transfer pricing. To be mandatory to seek permission from the Commissioner General to use transfer pricing methods other than those prescribed by the OECD guidelines. Value-added tax. VAT refund period for hydroelectricity generation to to be increased to 7 years from the current 4 years. VAT input credit or deductions. Taxable suppliers may be required to be in possession of an invoice issued from a prescribed invoicing system for purposes of claiming input VAT. Mining companies earning at least 75% of gross income in foreign currency from outside Zambia will be allowed to keep their books of accounts in United States dollar. VAT liability or refunds threshold for deregistration of dormant taxpayers. A threshold of up to 200 kwacha will be introduced. Customs and excise. Revenue concession measures. Remove customs duty on selected machinery and equipment used in oil and gas exploration, on machinery, equipment and other goods designed for geothermal energy activities, on motorcycles and tricycles imported in complete knockdown form for companies that assemble and source at least 5% inputs locally, on rolling stock, including wagons and locomotives, which is currently at 10%, on electric motor vehicles, buses, trucks and accessories of electric motor vehicles or cycles such as charging systems. Suspend customs duty on selected media, film and music equipment for a period of 3 years to promote growth in the media and film industry. Reduce excise duty on hybrid vehicles with specific HS codes designated for transport for persons from 30% to 25%. On alcohol with alcoholic strength of less than 80% to 60% from 120%. Suspend excise duty by 50% on locally produced clear beer for a period of 3 years for small and medium manufacturers that produce less than 500,000 liters per annum. Remove 5% selected goods surtax on selected products with specific HS codes which are not locally produced and are used in industrial processes. Increase the customs duty incentives period from 5 years to 15 years for a developer of a multi-facility economic zone subject to meeting prescribed conditions. Revenue compensating measures. Increase customs duty on all electrical panels, distribution boxes of specific HS codes to 25% from 15%. Increase the specific excise duty on tobacco and tobacco products to 400 kwacha per mil from 361 kwacha per mil. On non-alcoholic beverages, including UHT juices, to 60 ngwe per liter from 30 ngwe. Introduce and or increase selected goods surtax on products of specific HS codes, that is, tiles, mattresses, laminated panels for buildings and cold storage insulation, glass and baby diapers. Introduce excise duty of 5% on coke and semi-coke of coal, of lignite or of peat, whether or not agglomerated of HS code 2704. Change the basis of excise valuation for spirits, liqueurs and other spirituous beverages to the market price and not the value of the input at importation. Other measures to include the following: customs agents' license fees, to be paid within 3 months after approval as opposed to no limit currently. Penalties for non-payment of the fee within 3 months to be introduced. Kipushi, Mokambo and Sakania border posts to operate 24/7 to enhance trade. The electronic invoicing system to be implemented to enhance VAT compliance. A levy on person-to-person mobile money transfer of between 8 ngwe and 1 kwacha 8 ngwe to be introduced. Submission of audited financial statements. Large and specialized taxpayers may be required by the Commissioner General to submit audited financial statements. Whistleblowers reward to be introduced in the Zambia Revenue Authority Act. The ZRA Commissioner General is to be empowered to request information from regulators. The ZRA is to be exempted from the provisions of the Data Protection Act. Taxpayers are to be compelled to pay evaded taxes upon conviction for tax evasion.